Hey everyone, welcome to the Industry Show. I'm your host, Nitin Bajaj, and joining me today is Vinita Gupta. Vinita, welcome on the show.
Thank you very much. I look forward to the conversation, Nitin.
Thank you for hosting us here in your beautiful place. I really appreciate it. Let's start with who is Vinita?
Just very short for the audience, I would say I am an entrepreneur who immigrated at the age of 23 from India to the US, and that was 50 years back. So it was quite a journey for me as a woman of those days. Came here to get my engineering degree, then work in technology as one would expect because I was an engineer. And one thing led to another. I started my company and took it public, and I became the first woman of Indian origin to take a company public. So that, in short, is my story.
It's been a fascinating one, and it's also not that obviously you were the first woman, but also one of the very few people that have, in general, taken a company public. So congratulations for...
Thank you, Nitin.
It's been a long list of accomplishments. You're also an amazing and a very competitive bridge player. We'll talk about that a little bit. And you also just came out with a book which is doing exceedingly well, so congratulations with that too. It's rare to come across someone who excels in so many different domains of life, and I'm looking forward to getting to share a little more about that. Tell us about the why. What has motivated and inspired you in this journey and kept you going in so many different perspectives of life?
Mm-hmm. I would say my characteristic is I am restless. I want to do something, and if I have done it to a level, I want to take it to a higher level and higher level. So that's what has led me to different areas, but in each area I try to do as well as I think can be done, not just based on my capabilities, but based on examples of others.
Yes.
So that can be limiting, but that's what I have been doing. I'm a learner, and I enjoy the experience of learning, I would say. So this is my thirst, my forward-going mission, and what excites me to continue to learn and grow.
Love that. So one part of it is just learning and growth, and the other is in many ways that thirst for excellence, where you just push yourself to maybe a place of discomfort. Is that a good way to describe it?
Yeah, I think so. I think I push myself because it's always, if somebody else could do, what am I lacking?
True.
What am I lacking? So I keep pushing. Of course, when we push ourselves to limits, things get not just uncomfortable, they get painful. And I wouldn't say I enjoy the pain, but I do enjoy keep pushing because that's the way I live my life. And life in itself, without pushing, is not painless.
Yes.
So I'll leave it at that for now.
A lot to be read and understood beneath that. Amongst the many things in the different aspects of life, I'm sure you've come across many a challenge. What's the one you would like to call out?
I think to put life in perspective, after college, I've been pushing myself, I should say beyond college, I've been pushing myself for the last 50 years. To boil that down into one challenge, one learning, and what transformed me would be difficult. I treat life, profession, family, all that together, which all of us experience, as a combat. So you have to be ready to jump in, pull out when it gets too dangerous for your own mental being. But things do get hot and heavy, and you have to conserve your energy so that you don't kill yourself. So I think challenges have been enormous. To count a few, I'm not even including the discomfort levels when I just came from India and I had to interact with the culture in America, which is pretty hard to do, and especially as a single person, single woman, man or woman, both. But then when I started the company, it was like taking a plunge in the dark. I had no idea where I was going. There was no roadmap for that. So doing that, and in that process, I got very quickly immersed in problem solving. I consider entrepreneurship as a problem solving exercise forever. First big challenge was when my partner left me 6 months after I started the company. Here goes 50% of the company. It was the expectations before and after that I had to deal with. I was ready to shut the shop down in 6 months, but decided to move forward. And that was a painful re-immersion into doing the business as a single person. Then came the challenge of regulatory bodies wanting to shut down my company because I was in telecommunication business and there were a lot of regulations on that. It was like, really, that could happen to me? But we overcame that. And then when I was trying to raise money, for example, I found myself pregnant with my first daughter. And it was like, how am I going to handle that? So it is finding a solution and believing that there is a solution out there. There are no examples to follow in those cases. So I just did that. Fortunately, the internet market took off, and as a result of that, I was not just able to raise money, hire very competent people, and thanks to them, because they helped me lift the ship. And as a result, we were able to go public. Well, how many companies succeed to reach that stage in technology? That is in itself a very small percentage. So I crossed that threshold, and was I happy? Of course I was very delighted that I did that, but there was no resting. It was like next challenge and the next challenge after that. So I continued to rise up to the new level of challenges, and in the process, I think I learned enormously, not just about how to run a business, how to value human beings, and how to keep them in the company, which is you almost have to be more of a giver than taker. If they view that you are taking up everything from them, because we couldn't pay them market salaries, so that is given in any technology company because they can't afford the market salaries for their engineers. So you are giving them much less in material wealth, but the purpose, the mission, the drive, they get energized by that. That's why they join startups, knowing that it is a big gamble, not just for me, but for them as well.
Yeah, this is such a phenomenal and fascinating journey and a testament to your persistence, your relentlessness, that despite all of these challenges, and none of these in and of itself were small, but just combined for you to not just survive, but thrive and take a company public. 95% of the businesses fail.
Exactly.
And to be one of those 5% in and of itself, but even a micro percentage of that, go all the way to getting publicly listed, and at a time when this was not done before and not done by many women, and of South Asian origin, someone as a first generation American, there's so many accolades and so many feathers in your cap that you should write a book, and which you did.
Yeah, I did.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Let me show you the book that I wrote. This is my book, which was just 2 weeks back published. The Woman Indeed. I want to emphasize the title because I learned everything in my life by doing it. So this encompasses my learnings in the hopes that people will take something that they find useful the way I learned, not just what I learned, because everybody has their own goals about what they want to learn at a given point in time. So they can push themselves just like I pushed myself, and it encompasses 3 things which is in the subtitle. One is being an entrepreneur and being able to take a company public. The second is how I got into bridge and what I have gotten from it, and I'm still on that journey. So I just thrive learning from bridge because those lessons, if at all I can even say that, they were even harder than lessons learned in my business because they proliferate through business as well as life. So I enjoyed that, and also it encompasses journey with my late husband Vinita Gupta, who was extremely accomplished, but he passed away 4 years back. We had 47 years of marriage together, and we both were very hard-charging people. I call it marriage of 2 tigers. So that is also captured here because for an entrepreneur, one has to combine the journey at home and journey at work. And we were both very liberal with our comments on each other's performance, which were sometimes not so welcome, but sometimes they made us better. So that's what our lives together was, and I think it is possible to do that, and we as a couple were extremely successful rather than our individual accomplishments.
Again, that's another rare accomplishment where both of you are extremely accomplished, extremely competitive, and are able to, as I say, 2 tigers cannot be in the same den.
Absolutely.
But you made it not
We
just
made
work,
it, yeah.
you made that blossom. So congratulations to you on that too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, as you look forward, what is the one most exciting opportunity that you want to share with us?
So, I am 75 years old. I turned 75 this year.
75 years young. Let me read that.
75 years young. So I don't define my goal and shoot for it. I basically let my heart tell me at every different stages of life, you get sucked into different things for different reasons and based on where you are in life. So I just want to keep living in a purposeful way to make life exciting for myself. That is, and I'm competitive. So I have goals in bridge, I have goals in writing. I wasn't a born writer, I wasn't a born bridge player, I was not a born entrepreneur, but it seemed like something I could go after, and it takes decades of effort. It is not something that happens in a few years to you. So one has to stay in the game, as they say in bridge. You have to play your game and stay in the game. That is the only way to absorb and achieve something.
Love that. As we talk about the future, I'd like to take a pause and reflect and invite you to share two moments in your past life and career. One where things did not work out as you had expected, there was disappointment, maybe failure, lessons, and another instance where things exceeded your expectation and became a success beyond your imagination.
So maybe I'll reverse the order of questions. I would say the biggest achievement that I remember from running a company was that I was the first level manager when I left my corporate job and started my company. But then I was able to hire people who were my vice presidents who were far more capable than I was. And why did they join me? I have some notion now, but at the time I was just delighted that they joined me. And I needed their help because I was managing so much at home with my children, family, and then I had a company to run and I had taken venture capital, which meant I had a commitment. I wasn't just doing it for myself. I wanted my venture capitalists to feel their investment was worthwhile in me. And I compared that with, I wanted to show to my parents that they invested in my engineering education and in sending me to the US. That was financial hardship. It wasn't like they were poor, but it was a financial hardship. And I wanted to show it to them that I will be there for them in their old age. And fortunately, they moved to the US and I was able to take care of them in their old age. So I'm very delighted and happy about that. Failure-wise, I had a lot of failures, small and big ones. And let me start off by describing, even though failures shaped me, but they didn't hold me back. Failure was, if we call it a failure, after running up the public company for 5 years as a public company, the winds changed. The markets are ever changing in technology. So internet, very soon what we call internet bubble burst in 2000 and my company went public in 1994. So 6 years later, my suddenly revenues collapsed as a public company. And public markets are very unforgiving. So the stock took a plunge, employees got disenchanted, especially engineers who were working on newer products, and they started leaving. Consequently, I could not deliver the products in a timely way, which took further hit on the revenues. So it was a spiraling down, and eventually the handwriting was on the wall, and I decided it was time to move on. And as much as I was very disappointed with that outcome, yet it prepared me for life later on, that I got so emboldened that if I could handle that, I could handle anything in life. And I think that is what I have become since. So this is life for me. And then my husband had a lot of health issues. I tackled those and he passed away 4 years back. But again, I did let myself being held back, even though, of course, I felt the emotions. Of course, I took a few years to recover from that.
That is so deep in so many ways. For someone who's extremely competitive and extremely accomplished and relentless, the ability to comprehend all of that and move on must have taken a lot to say. You put it in simple words, but I'm sure at that point it wasn't simple. It wasn't easy to. In many ways, people look at this and say, "Are you giving up?" You did not give up, but you had the wisdom to say, yeah, it is time to look at life in a different perspective. So I really applaud you for that. And also, as you mentioned, to deal with the personal challenges that were going on and just the ability to step back and look at the bigger picture, it takes a lot of wisdom, it takes a lot of courage, it takes things that you don't have a playbook for. So I don't think I can even imagine what you would have gone through and what it would have taken, and the experience that you've been able to capture. And I'm really glad that you have been extremely vocal about sharing these things through your blogs, through your articles, and now through your book. So thank you for being vulnerable and transparent, and in setting that roadmap for others that are following you.
Let me add a little bit. The reason I'm smiling is because those things were disappointing. Life gives you a lot of handouts also. So I felt fortunate, and somehow it came in my psyche that good things happen in life, and for no thanks to you, because it's not always your doing. Similarly, bad things happen, and they are also not your doing sometime they are. So it's not like I don't look back and analyze. The only thing the game of bridge has taught me is don't try to fight yesterday's wars. That chapter is over. Move forward. That's the only way you are going to be able to do something more worthwhile, hopefully, in your next second act or whatever, which was bridge for me. So that's why I don't let myself get down on myself for too long. I do get down, of course, I'm human.
It's, again, takes a lot of wisdom, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Now, I usually ask people, what do they do for fun? So in your case, obviously you enjoy bridge, but it's also something you're competitive, you're one of the best at the game in the world. So I want to ask you that question. What do you do for fun? What do you do to de-stress?
What do I do to de-stress? I think the first thing I do for de-stressing is not let myself get ahead of me, which is, you don't start patting yourself on the back. It's just not my nature. I just keep saying, oh, that was good. But what I do is I enjoy multiple things, doing multiple things. For example, I write blogs, and now I wrote a book. It was fun to learn how to write blogs, but it was fun till it became a long endeavor of writing a book. Then it becomes painful. Similarly, social bridge was fun to do, but competitive bridge is very intense, so it's no longer. I also do painting, so oil painting, which I learned in high school, and I do that even today because, first of all, it lets me decompress or my mind go in a different way, and I'm not thinking about bridge, I'm not thinking about writing, I'm not thinking about relationships. You know how you can get entangled in your own thoughts by thinking, oh, that person doesn't like me, maybe I didn't say things in the right way. We just imagine. That's so human for people to do, and that's what gets me upset about myself rather than what the other person may or may not have meant. Because how do you know what he had meant? Because people are thinking so many things about life that they are not quite focused on you, and you are deriving conclusions that what could it have meant. And that is the part which I try to learn how not to. And I travel. I love to travel. I love to go to wilderness experiences. And once we took a lot of trips with our kids in cruises. And one of the best one was going to Antarctica, which was painful. So you have to have some discomfort in order to have an ultimate experience. And it was going over Drake's Channel, which really gets you, 80% of the people in the ship were sick that they didn't show up for breakfast. So I sailed through that, not sailed through, I was sick also, but I didn't, I said, okay, that was that. But then they offered an opportunity on the ship to take what they call Antarctic plunge. And I was over 55 then, probably the oldest one in the line to take an Antarctic plunge. I said, how difficult can that be? Yes, it's going to be cold, but I can't even imagine how cold it will be. So it is just mindset you make and you do it. And somebody said, you can't take that experience away. It was so enthralling for me. Other people may not have thought anything. My daughters jumped, but they were in their teens or 20s. Yeah, of course they could do it. So I like to just challenge myself a little bit more because I get the thrill out of it. So that's been my nature, my life, and I just live my life the way I think I should live.
So there is a little bit of crazy involved in that, I get it.
Of course, of course. Being crazy, being aggressive, being bold, ruffling a few feathers is necessary to do anything in life. If you are Miss Nice person, life doesn't take you anywhere.
Yeah, it's part of living a full life.
Yeah, I guess so. I live the life that I can come up with. Nobody taught me how to live life. Nobody teaches anybody how to live life. So you come up with your own playbook and you do whatever you do. I think the only thing I would say is don't let yourself get down.
Love that perspective. Which brings me to my favorite part of the show. We call this the one-line life lessons. Vinita, I would love for you to share your life lessons with us.
I think one line life lesson for me is do not admire anybody too much and do not let anybody undermine you. That is in your hands.
Love that. It's very deep, very relevant, and something that's close to mind. If you have more, we would love to have you share more of these one-line life lessons. So please continue and provide any perspectives if you have any.
I think people just think too much and do too little. So, if you want to do something, go for it. Life will tell you whether you will succeed or not. Don't get opinions of other people.
Love that. Don't look for validation, just go do it. Vinita, thank you so much for making the time to share your journey, your amazing story, and your life lessons with us. Again, congratulations and kudos for the fascinating journey you've had, and more importantly for sharing it with others and creating that pathway for others to not just follow in the footsteps but also to find their own ways. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Nitin. I'm honored that you chose me to be on this show.
Thank you so much.